Hey, I'm Kev, welcome back to MotoGP 17 and the Rider Quiz. Patrick McDonald is with a new team for the final third of the season. Can you get off to a fantastic start with Avintia at Misano? As here goes Patrick McDonald for his first two flying laps on board the Avintia Ducati. Round one of their home circuits at the Misano World Circuit, SImoncelli. And this is not a very good first sector, as a bit like the Saxon Ring, you got a slow sector and it really opens up in the second half of the lap. There's a bit out of sync in all of these corners. Let's see if you can line up this back straight. As you saw rear end getting out, he's putting the power down. And again, slightly different sound to the engine. It's going to take some getting used to for Patrick McDonald. We should get used to it by the race. It's on his banker lap. This has been pretty slow. This is not a good banker lap at all. He goes a bit wide in the right hander. But that apex wasn't too bad. Getting the rear end decided when he gets the power down. And it's all very wide in the first right hander. Trying to go flat on the second, but he's down. So McDonald's bike has been repaired, and with 5 minutes remaining, he's got one lap to make it through to qualifying 2 here at Misano, and a circuit which has been pretty kind to him in the past. Oh, and he's down. You say he had one lap to go. Well, this is the lap now, as his bike is damaged. But we see if he can get anywhere near to that 34.2 he needs to get through, as he's just struggling on this Avintia to get used to it. Very unstable getting the power down, as you saw in that previous lap. Not the best on the brakes, not as good as the KTM, as you're seeing into the right hander. Well, Misano's been a circuit which has been kind to McDonald in the past, I was trying to say. And look at that first set to 3/10 up. This is what he needs to be in those 33s. He goes towards the hairpin rear of the bike, not braking at all, as he struggles to get on the bow. And they're battling the rear all the time. And he's lost almost a couple of tenths there in that sector. As now here we go, big test. These fast right hand sweepers, 4 of them, well 3 of them, and the hairpin. So into the first right hander, makes it through. Can he make it through the second? He can. Almost into the back of the KTM, into the back of the KTM, just blocks him. That's how he's 4 tenths up. He's got super run out the corner and sweep in front of the KTM into the penultimate corner. Now approaching the final corner. Very easy, outbrake yourself just like that. But smooth enough on the power, so he gets out of the KTM and he dips into the 33s. As the last chance saloon works for McDonald on the Avintia, making it through along with Scott Redding by 3/10 of a second ahead of the Brit, with Redding just less than half a tenth ahead of Alicia Spargo on the Aprilia. And not as bad as McDonald's new teammate in 4th. Good qualifying from Baz, but not making it through ahead of the Tech 3 of Jonas Folger. Don't often see the German down there, with Alex Ring, Jack Miller, Via Baptista, Tito Abak, Abraham, Hector Barbara, McDonald's other teammate. And then on the back row, got Paul Spargo, Bradley Smith, McDonald's former KTM teammates, Samagin, Sam Nose on the Aprilia. So what can Patrick McDonald do in qualifying 2? As here goes Patrick McDonald for his one shot at pole here in Italy. Well, it's San Marino Grand Prix, but it's in Italy. It's Misano. It's a bit like Imola used to be for F1. But he's finding it tough to adapt to his Avintia, but still made it through despite all those issues in qualifying 1. So we'll see what he can do in qualifying 2. 33.9 won't be that good in qualifying 2. It needs to perhaps be closer to a 32. Maybe dip into them. Be mid 32s to be on pole. So you can get anywhere close. There's Avintia. This is Ducati, a bit older than the factory spec, than the Premac that Petrucci is riding. And this time McDonald's much smoother on this lap. Much better. Look at that, nice and smooth on the power tool on this back straight towards these fast right-hand sweepers. Can he finally nail these? First a bit cautious, maybe overly cautious. Definitely overly cautious into the others, but again, nice and smooth. Even into the hairpin. Hooks up that apex, got the power nice and early. Goes a bit wider in penultimate corner though. And then the final corner where you really don't want to be running wide. Brakes early, hooks up the apex, gets the power nice and early. It won't be a 32 bit, but a low 33. And you definitely had to dip into the 32s to be on pole, which Rossi grabbed by 8,000 of a second ahead of Mark Marquez, with Vinales in third. Then it's Dovi and Patrick McDonald in the top 5. Great qualifying ahead of Carol Crutchlow. Then you've got Pedrosa, Eno, and Insark on the third row, and Lorenzo Petrucci and Scott Redding alongside his teammate on the fourth row. So what can Patrick McDonald do in the race? Could he maybe even have a dream debut victory on the Avintia? As we look at the grid, and there is McDonald on the second row. Magnum, I think he is now. I think he's swapped sides. He's no longer blue still, green still, orange crush. He is now Magnum. Finally, as there's Baz in 14th on the 5th row. And there's Barbara on the 7th. As we wait for the lights to appear. And go out for this 7-lap race. Decent start from Purple Rain. Shall we call him that? It starts raining victory. Tries to down the inside of Rossi into the first corner. And down the inside of Vinales up into second. Fantastic start from McDonald with just Mark Marquez in front. He tries to ease it into the right-hander. Gaining on the Honda. As he goes onto the back straight. Oh, Vinales has a look. Means McDonald doesn't have the optimum run down this back straight towards the hairpin. In his opening lap. I have to take a more inside line to back those Yamahas away from his second place. Nice and smooth on the power. He's keeping the gap to Marquez. He's opening that. They're even gaining into the double right. Smooth enough on the power. So there's a Avintia. Doesn't have a straight line speed. Of course, it's Ducati. Of course, it's straight line speed. As he gets right into Marquez. How do they both survive going through that first right hand and then into the second? Does McDonald have a look into the third? He does. But the Honda holds on. Into the final right-hander. Can he maybe cut back on Marquez down the inside into the penultimate corner? McDonald leads. Surely not. Oh, and then he gets bumped by Marquez in the final corner. Well, that was a good corner of leading from McDonald, but he's definitely battling for the win here in Misano. Maybe still not 100% on the Avintia, but he's definitely got speed on it. Because he's got Vinales in third behind, and he does the fast out. Of course he does the fast out. 35.6. Samno's down. And there's a Aprilia. Not a good season for the Brit. And now he's in last and probably not scoring any more points. Scoring his first point of the season. McDonald's a bit scruffy going onto this back straight. Not going to get the slipstream of Marquez. But then he's got the medium front and hard rear tyres. So maybe he could just buy his time till the second half of the race. Just sit in this position. Keep it nice and smooth. Minimise that tyre wear. And then make his move on Marquez. Do a Marquez on Marquez. He doesn't mind buying his time, does the young Spaniard, before pouncing for the victory. You've seen that in the past. Maybe he's just going to be outdone by his apprentice here. Or the master has great move by McDonald. Very aggressive on Marquez. Don't often see that from Marquez, letting someone make a move like that. And again into the hairpin. McDonald not having any of Marquez's manoeuvres as he goes into the ultimate corner. Looks like the helicopter pilot's still lost. Roaming around this final corner, and Marquez again having a little look as McDonald gets the power on early. Rear end doesn't like it, but he leads going on to the third lap. And into the first corner, he holds on from Marquez. As Vinales did the fast lap, 34.3. So definitely got a top three up, battling for victory here. Some short shifts up to third. And gets it down to second, a bit wide. But nice and smooth lines through these right and left in that complex. 4/10 of the markers with Vinales in third, right in his tail. Looks like Rossi's dropping back the pole man, the home hero, in fourth. To go through the hairpin, and Vinales up to second, head of markers. Honda dropping back, Yamaha coming to the fore. But it's Ducati leading on home turf. With the debutant for them, McDonald. As he goes down this back straight. Now with clear air, can he actually attack these for once as well? There's a bit of a bump going into that corner. Kind of lifted the front slightly for McDonald, causing them to go slightly wide, but nice and smooth lines. And look at that, hitting all the apexes. And now he's got a 1.2 second lead over Vinales. Oh, he's riding beautifully, McDonald. Let's go towards the final corner. Helicopter pilots figured out which way the final corner is now. Now he's just got to figure out how to get to the actual action spots on the track. As he sets a 33.2. Is it qualifying for McDonald? That's good enough for fifth on the grid. Where he did qualify. He's the fastest. Of course, is the fastest that. But you don't expect to see that in the race. Once again, short shifting up to third on this fourth lap. Approaching the halfway mark of this race. And what a dream race for McDonald and Avintia. Avintia have been very solid point scorers with Lois Baz. Hector Barbara battling the score point. It is Vinales is 1.5 seconds back after the opening sector of this lap. Oh, Danilo Petrucci out from 9th in one of his home races. Not a good time for the Pramac rider. And you expect the Pramac to be very good round here, perhaps be the top Ducati, along with the factory guys. But on this occasion, as that gap stays consistent at 1.5 seconds, and tyre wear looking at around halfway through this race. Front tyre slightly more worn than we'd like to see, but still it's only around a third. And then for the rear tyre, it's around a quarter. Looking very good on the rears. Which bodes well as these tyres will come alive in the second half of the race. Donald's done it in the first half, now his bike will come to him. He's going to the final corner. Nice and smooth on the power, not like those jaggedy lines from before when he was battling with Marquez. There's a 33.2 now. 1.8 ahead of Vinales. Not as fast as that from McDonald, so consistent. Let's go for the first set. Oh no, the helicopter pilots finally found this tight complex. At least someone's given the map. Let's go through the double right and in through the left onto the back straight. And you can see how pointed this bike is now with the tyres up the temperature in the range. Optimum range for them. Everyone's maybe going with softer tyres. Maybe slower tyres at this stage of the race. Expect McDonald to just ease away if he continues riding beautifully. And look at that, he's 2 seconds in front of Vinales now. Marcus still in third though, ahead of Rossi. Doing a good job on that Honda. Expecting to perhaps fall back a bit more, but he's holding on. He's a good fighter, is Marquez. Maybe not against McDonald. Got out muscled. You don't often say that about the multiple champion. And look at 2.8 ahead of Vinales now. You've got to think about what this does for the championship. Really pulls McDonald back into it. You've got Vinales up there. Got Marquez still in there as well. Has again the helicopter pilot's a bit lost. He's now just going around the back of the grandstands. It looks like it's 33 flat now from McDonald. Told you this bike's coming to him. It's going slightly quicker this time. Not as fast as that. Short shifts up to third again. Nice smooth exit. Down to second. And there's penultimate lap. Oh, what a fantastic debut of Vinta. This is even better than his KTM debut. The Aprilia debut earlier this season. He's almost 3 seconds out of Vinales. Maverick got no answer on that Yamaha. As all McDonald breaks himself into the hairpin. Just about stays on the black stuff. There's all the helicopter pilots finally found the double right. I expect Vinales to take back half a second in that sector. There's still a comfortable lead for McDonald. With a lap and a half to go. I saw that front tyre is heavily worn. And he goes very wide in the first right. Bike a bit understeery now. Where the front end is just scrubbing on the surface, not really gripping. And again, Vinales taking a 10th back in that previous sector. He's going to the penultimate corner, a bit of a ragged line for McDonald. Just got one lap to go as he goes out the final corner. Goes across the start-finish line for the penultimate time, and that front tyre around quarter. The tyre left, and now Vinales just 2 seconds back. Maybe should have gone hard front and rear. So just on the rears, as front is not looking good. Going on to this final lap, but you should have enough tyre. For the rest of that, his pace won't drop dramatically. He just needs to adjust slightly. He's taking back a 10th in that first sector. But he won't have a 10th finish. He breaks a bit earlier into the hairpin this time around. Nicely into the apex, almost losing it, putting the power down though. Then into the double right. Hooks up that apex and grabs another 10th on Vinales. There's a rear tyre around halfway worn, front tyre now. Maybe a 5th left. But look at that, beautiful lines. Oh, a bit wide though into the final right-hander, all over the curb. But Jones is just about to save it, and he still managed to pull 2 tenths on Vinales with 2 corners to go. Slightly rolled in penultimate corner. Now the final corner, just hit the apex. Be smooth on the power. And McDonald, raise your fist in victory. Again, what a win. On the Avenge on his debut on the bike. As he wins by 3.4 seconds ahead of Vinales. Just a fast lap by a country mile with Marquez in 3rd, Rossi 4th, Dovi in 5th. Good race on the Ducati, the second best Ducati though. Behind the older spec one that McDonald had, with Crutcho in 6th. Iannone in 7th. Good race on the ElusiveKev. Zarco, Lorenzo and Pedrosa with Redding. Alicia Spargo and his Volga. After poor qualifying, get up to 13th, not bad. Alex Rins and Lois Baz making it a sandwich for Vinto 1st and 15th for the points. Just ahead of his teammate Hector Barber by just over a second, with Jack Miller at the back. So in the championship, Rossi still leads, but by just 5 points ahead of Patrick McDonald, who climbs back to second ahead of Maverick Vinales by a single point, with Marquez in 4th, 19 points. Back, it's still extremely close between the top 4 with just 5 rounds remaining. We've got Dovi in a lonely 5th. Ed Cal Crutcher now, who's 4 points ahead of Danny Pedrosa, with Sarko in 8th, Lorenzo 9th. Ian only round out the top 10 of Scott Redding, who's up ahead of Alicia Spargo, and Danilo Petrucci drops to 13th. As in the constructors' stands, you've got Yamaha leading by 45 points ahead of Honda, with Ducati in 3rd, and Aprilia up ahead of KTM by 3 points now in 4th, with Suzuki in last. And in the team's rankings, we have got Aventio up to 3rd ahead of Ducati by 6 points. Has Yamaha lead Honda by 113 points. So definitely got one hand on that title. Then Tech 3 up to 5th ahead of Premac by a single point. Big mover and shakers for the independent teams. As yes, fantastic for McDonald. That race suit a bit lighter blue though compared to the darker blue for everyone else, but with his second victory in a row, he's right up there in the championship. Can he make it 3 victories in a row and be guaranteed to at least tie leading the championship heading to the flyway races? Let's see what he can do around the Motorland Aragon circuit. As here goes Patrick McDonald for his 2 flying laps around the Motorland Aragon circuit, the 3rd visit to Spain this season. Definitely won the fun circuits in Spain as well. Valencia is very technical. Barcelona is as well. So is Jerez. Jerez is perhaps the second most fun circuit after Aragon, as Aragon has lots of sweeping curves like Jerez, but especially that penultimate corner, it's just really fun. And Patrick McDonald has a decent history in Aragon. Of course, won his Red Bull Rookies title here. In controversial circumstances, did pretty well in Moto 3 and Moto 2. So we're looking to repeat that track in MotoGP, not on this banker that though, in qualifying 1. So once again, finding that the Aventus brakes perhaps not the best thing in qualifying, but of course they've turned out to be pretty good in the race in Misano, so we'll see if they come back to him. As you go through this very long left hand, they've just got to be so patient on a MotoGP bike. It's not as flowing that corner has on a Moto 2 or a Moto 3 machine. Now this section is a bit more stop-starty as well, going over these blind crests. And then the Moto 3 machine is virtually flat out going through that right hander, but on a MotoGP machine you definitely need to dab the brakes. Be a bit more cautious through there. Just like those fast right-hand sweepers at Misano. Well, McDonald wasn't the best, but he's just so smooth with the bike there in the race. And despite having some difficulties near the end of the race, it would be good enough, as that's a pretty decent run onto the start-finish line. He sets a 46. Wants to be much quicker than that though on his second effort here. As the other riders start to filter out the pits. Hopefully not blocked by that Tech 3. That's a nice sweeping arc through those double right, then into the left-hander. Could maybe carry more speed into that first left. Get smoothly enough on the power. That's the lift because of the bump there. Look at 6/10 of a second up already on this lap. And then he ran wide at that corner, so that's maybe a couple seconds in the bank as well. As he goes through the roller coaster for the second time. Just be very careful getting the power out of it, as you can see. Getting that rear spinning up. And a bit wide through the left-hander. And then you've got this very tricky braking zone. There's 1.5 seconds virtually ahead of his previous lap time. It's now he's got the Aprilia in front of him. Managed to slot through. So it shouldn't have cost him too much time. As he goes through the right. Then the left. Really slow it down. Get a smooth exit. He lost the 10th actually. So maybe that Aprilia did cost him some time. As you go onto this back straight, just 2 corners to go. Very important to be able to spot your braking point for this penultimate corner where you carry the speed. And if you're good enough, you can just accelerate through that final corner like McDonald did. There's going to be a 44, is it 44.7? Which is easily fast enough to go through. What happened to everyone else? 2.4 seconds of difference. Did McDonald just have a special engine there or something? Special tyres. Has Alicia Spogaroso through on the Aprilia, just ahead of Folger by around a 10th and a half, with Scott Redding in 4th on the Pramac. Disappointing outing for the Brit, with Baz in 6th, Barbara in 10th and Bradley Smith at the back. So can Patrick McDonald repeat what he did in Misano and qualify in the top 5? So here goes Patrick McDonald for his one shot in qualifying 2. Can he repeat that time? That'll be right up there in this session. Could even grab his first pole with Avinci if he does. That'll get close to it. Definitely would expect a 45 to be right up there. So to be in the 44s would be incredible again. Let's go for the double left. A bit more cautious on this effort. And a bit wider into the right hander. But he seemed to pick up the bike well, nice and smooth on the power. And through the roller coaster. Oh, a bit of a bump. Going into the right. And going into the left as well, a bit wide. but smoother on the power. And much better into that left hand, hooking up that apex, being nice and early on the power. Then into the left hand in this middle sector. This time no Aprilia in the way, so that maybe saves him a 10th. Even though he's a bit too extravagant on the power there again. It's a Vintia. Now he just takes a lap or two to warm up with its tyres, but going onto the back straight, this is like another decent lap from McDonald. Just 2 corners to go. Bit wide in the first left. But can he pick up the power smoothly enough? He can. And nice and smooth onto the start finish straight, and it's another 44 even quicker. And that is pole for McDonald by over a second. Ahead of Rossi and Marquez, with Vinales in 4th, ahead of Dovi and Pedrosa on the 2nd row. And on the 3rd row, Crutchlow, Iannone and Zarco. On the 4th row, Lorenzo Pucci and Espargo. But what a pole from McDonald. Can he back it up in the race and grab his 3rd victory in a row? As we look at the grid with Purple Rain at the top. On pole and is Avintia for the first time, isn't it? Further down the grid, loads of Spaniards in their home race. As we've got Lois Baz leading the 6th row. And then we've got Hector Barbara in the middle of the 7th. As Pagimino for the first time revving up the engine on pole on this Avintia. As though waits for the lights and they get underway for this 6-lap race. A decent run into the first corner, and Rossi, the doctor nudging him wide, just held them both up, but they still hold 1st and 2nd. It's all a bit wide into the right-hander, while Rossi have a move into the left. But McDonald covering the inside. Seems like he's held on despite being a bit slow into that 2nd left-hander. And then see just ahead of Rossi with Marquez in 3rd for the home crowd. No Vinales. So he didn't get the jump that he wanted at the start from 4th. Let's go through the roller coaster. Nice and smooth from McDonald. Let the bike just drift right in that 2nd left. Don't need to be attacking. So also opens up that arc heading into this sweeping left-hander that follows. And you see McDonald now 8 tenths ahead of Rossi. Oh, is he just going to be cruising away, getting in the lead? But this time from the opening lap, from the whole shot. As in it's like the pilot is again lost. In the infield here at Aragon. Still 8 tenths ahead of Rossi with Marquez right in his tail. So he's getting slipstream that Honda from the Yamaha. But the Yamaha's not getting it from the Ducati. McDonald, so you shouldn't have to worry going into this penultimate corner. You can just spot his braking point, run wide. Just have a nice beautiful arc through these final couple of corners onto the start finish straight for the first time. And immediately into the 40s, 49 for that. And 1.4 ahead of Rossi. That's once again McDonald on the medium fronts. So watch out for the bike maybe doing that late as the race progresses. Drifting wide as Marquez up to 2nd ahead of Rossi. Very good for the championship. Let's go into the left-hander. As Marquez and McDonald will be gaining points on Rossi, and McDonald will be guaranteed a championship lead heading into the final 4 race of the season. As he's got a 2nd half lead over Marquez. Downhill into the roller coaster. Back in, drifting out again slightly. As all he lets the bike drift a bit too wide there. As McDonald just kills all the momentum trying to get onto the power. Doesn't make this section as flowing. But he's keeping it upright. He's keeping it smooth enough on these opening few laps. So he pulled out a 10th for Marquez despite that mistake. And now Rossi back past the Spaniard at the wall, the famous wall here at Aragon. So again, knocking up those rears under braking. Means he's taken another horrible couple of corners as McDonald, but he's got a 2-second dead lead ahead of Rossi. Marquez in third. They're battling behind. It's costing them time. To move into right. Oh, he's gone very deep in the penultimate corner. We'll talk about taking a nice wide flowing arc in those corners, but that's a bit too wide for McDonald as he approached the third lap of the race. Well, that's the thing about modern circuits, perhaps don't get punished as much for doing those mistakes. As Marquez ahead of Rossi again. Let's not do the fast of that, 47 for that this time. And Rossi only gained 2/10 since McDonald's mistake. Shows you that you don't really lose too much by making mistakes like that. But McDonald, all over the curb. It's gone right into the runoff. And he had dropped behind Rossi and Marquez, but takes back the lead. And again, the runoff saving the day for McDonald as he hooks up that right-hander. But he's been very scruffy in the first half of this race. I don't know how he still leads. Let's go for the right and the left. That's better from McDonald as Rossi gets past Marquez in the roller coaster. How do you even do that? It's a great move from the veteran. It's the master and apprentice of MotoGP domination. Battle behind. Rossi from the last decade. Marquez from this. Marquez back ahead of Rossi. Into second. Again, Vinales not popping up in that podium battle. As Marquez 1.2 behind, so McDonald's definitely gained back that time. Built up that lead again to a comfortable margin. So hoping the second half of the race with his medium fronts and hard rears coming into their own and cut out the mistakes as Rossi back past Marquez. That's a scruffy line going on to start finish straight into the second half of the race. He leads by 1.5 seconds ahead of Rossi. Or should I say Marquez, he makes the move into the first corner. They're passing at all the popular spots. Oh, Rossi and Marquez going like a hell in the middle part of this race. It's all Alex Rins on the Suzuki down from 18th. Spaniard not having a good season on that Suzuki. And Patrick McDonald has been linked to that seat multiple times this season, but hasn't gone yet. As he's gone wide again into that right-hander just like in qualifying. Manages to rejoin in the lead and still with a decent lead as well. Of over a second. So yeah, we'll see if Patrick McDonald does finally make the switch to the Suzuki next season, but he's just concentrating on this title at the moment and winning this Aragon race. Grab that championship lead. As he's 1 point ahead of Marquez. And now Scott Redding down from 15th on his Premac Ducati. We had Petrucci in the last race, now Redding this race. Premac not having a good run of things. As they're battling the top 5 in the championship, of course, for Tech 3. As Marquez 2.1 back of McDonald. He's still increasing the lead despite all of these mistakes. Very confident for the Kenyan that he's got so much pace in hand as Rossi ahead of Marquez for second in the penultimate corner. That's a smoother arc going on to the start finish straight and on to penultimate lap of the race of 46.6 from McDonald. New fastest lap. And he's still not as quick as McDonald. Just look at Marquez just ahead of Rossi again into that first corner, 2.3 seconds back. Let's go through the double left. That's better from McDonald. Not the best. Now can he actually spot his braking point for the right-hander? That's beautiful in the apex. Nice and smooth on the power. Another 2.6 ahead of Marquez, or should I say Rossi. So again the Italian gets past the Spaniard. And crowd have their hearts in their mouths about who's going to finish second in this race. Because it looks like it's a one-man band in the lead with Patrick McDonald. Not just in this race, but could be in the championship as well. He's Goes for the left-hander, 2.5 now ahead. As he goes past the wall, has Marquez past Rossi. Into that left-hander. So it goes through. Very tight left-hander leading on to this back straight. 3.1 ahead. Marquez, who's just ahead of Rossi, but watch out for the move into the penultimate corner between the pairs. That Yamaha will have lots of slipstream from the Honda. But for Patrick McDonald, it's not been his best race, riding right. Not as good as Misano, even as there is Rossi past Marquez. When the second race, he has calmed it down a bit, and now he's posting fast as that for fun. And then onto this final lap, he has a lead of 3.4 seconds ahead of Rossi, but Marquez making the move into the first corner. That's once again that front tyre heavily worn in the medium. You can see around quarter of the tyre left. And then on the rear tyre, around 2/5 of the tyre left. Approaching a third now. The tyre a bit higher at Aragon. He's got over a 4-second lead ahead of Rossi. He's got ahead of Marquez. This is going to be settled in the penultimate corner, isn't it? I would not want to put my money down on who's going to grab that second place, because that is very important for the championship as well, as Bradley Smith down on his KTM from 23rd. Britt once again not having a fun race this season. Definitely not scoring points as you go through the left-hander. 4.3 in the lead for McDonald. Just a couple of corners to go now. As Marquez Rossi into that left-hander by the wall. But could that set Rossi up for the move into the penultimate corner? As Middle heads towards it now with a 5-second lead. And heavily worn tyres on both front and rear now. Rear tyre's really worn on his final lap. But all makes it through the penultimate corner smoothly enough. And then through the final corner, start finish on, and there is Rossi with the move on Marquez. Well, McDonald wins again for Vintia. 2 from 2. What a combination. As he won by 7 seconds in the end of Rossi. Where did he put out 2 seconds in that final couple of corners? As he just beat Marquez a second by 23 thousandths of a second, with Vinales over a second back in 4th. Very quiet race for the Spaniard, with Dovi ran out of top 5 once again ahead of Danny Pedrosa. Then we've got Iannone, Zarco, Crutcher and Petrucci ran out of top 10 ahead of Folger, Jack Miller, Jorge Lorenzo down in 13th. Normally so good in Aragon. Poor performance on the Ducati with Baz in 14th. Once again, the Frenchman bringing home the points, with Elisa Spargo winning the battle of the Spaniards ahead of Tito Abad and Hector Barber for the final point, with Bradley Smith at the back. So in the championship, we have a new leader as Patrick McDonald ties Rossi on 237 points, but thanks to more victories, he leads the Italian with just 4 rounds remaining, with Vinales in 3rd, still just 13 points back, and Marquez in 4th, just 23 points back. Under a race win separates the top 4 still, with 4 rounds remaining, with Dovi in 5th, head of Crutcho, Pedrosa, Sarko, Iannone up to 9th, head of Jorge Lorenzo, Petrucci up to 11th, head of Scott Redding, and Alicia Spargo. Jack Miller up to 16th, head of Alvaro Batista, and right at the back, Paul Spargo now has the wooden spoon as Cal Abraham drags himself up to 23rd. As in the constructors standings, it's a 49-point lead for Yamaha over Honda, with Ducati in 3rd, just 22 points behind Honda now. Could still grab 2nd in the championship, with Aprilia 4 points ahead of KTM and Suzuki in 6th. And then in the team's rankings, it's a 120-point lead for Yamaha over Repsol Honda. They could maybe grab the team's championship in the next race, with Avinta in 3rd, 19 points ahead of the Works Ducati team. Then Tech 3 in 5th, Premac in 6th, LCR 7th, Suzuki 8th, Aprilia in 9th. Mark VDS into the top 10 ahead of Aspar, with the factory KTM team at the back. As yes, an ecstatic Patrick McDonald. Oh, he likes being on top in the MotoGP Championship, maybe grabbing his rookie year. And so that's why all of these team changes. He is so happy. He's going to be partying long into the night and week before we fly to Japan, Australia and Malaysia. No doubt the clones will be partying as well. As I said, we now head to the Trinwin Motegi circuit in Japan, and then Fairpardon in Australia, and then we got the final couple rounds in Malaysia and Valencia. Patrick McDonald leads, but can it continue? Find out next time. So, for watching. I'll see you then.